Cameron's race.
Judd Huntley, David Bridges, John Chen, Tom Brokaw.
Big snow, sleet, and wind making a mess of the Midwest, and tonight this powerful storm is on the move and heading east, where warnings are posted. Is Iran supplying lethal weapons in Iraq? Tonight, America's top military man casts new doubt on the controversial charges. He's in. Tonight, a new Republican candidate for president facing questions about abortion, gay rights, and religion. And our series, Trading Places, Caring for Your Parents. Tonight, how our own Tim Russert is making sure his dad, Big Russ, is living the life he deserves.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Brian Williams.
Good evening. A lot to tell you about this Tuesday night. Most immediately, a strong dose of winter weather is right now causing blizzard conditions in some places, and it is on the move towards some major eastern population centers where tonight warnings are posted for some very dangerous conditions. Right now, snow and rain are falling in parts of 20 eastern states. The storm in question is barreling across the Ohio Valley. It's getting its supply of water from the south, and lots of it, and it's cold in the north, and that means several feet of snow in some spots. Tonight, Illinois and Ohio are among the states getting pounded. Kevin Tibbles is in Cleveland for us. First, NBC's Janet Shamlian is in Bloomington, Illinois for us to start us off. Janet, good evening.
Good evening, Ryan. At least 4 deaths are blamed on the snow and the ice, and the combination of gusting wind and snow in many parts of the Midwest will continue until midnight.
Blizzard conditions paralyzed the heartland as the major winter storm packing snow, ice, and wind held the Midwest hostage.
I got out of my garage. There was about a 4-foot drift, so I had to shovel it out.
Determined gusts up to 40 miles per hour created whiteout conditions.
It's just taken the snow 5 inches worth and blown it back onto roadway.
Hundreds of accidents were reported. Even plows weren't immune.
We were swerving all over the road. We had a 4-wheel drive, but there was still nothing we could do.
500 flights were canceled in Chicago alone, delays rippling across the country.
Right now, we're plowing and de-icing the runways, and depending upon the temperature, we may sand the runways as well.
For thousands of children, a day off as the storm worked overtime.
It's something that, even though you live in the Midwest, I'm not sure you're ever really prepared for it.
At midday, some neighborhoods were still without the telltale tracks of daily life, as workers were told to stay home. Except those who depend on the business of Valentine's Day, like this Bloomington florist.
Weather is really bad. The wind's blowing 40 miles an hour. The snowdrifts are about 4 foot high.
Where's my snowshoes?
And Deb Knoll still has 100 deliveries to make by tomorrow.
This is the worst I've seen in 10 years.
And in Redfield, New York, where they've already been hit with record snows, residents can expect another 1 to 3 feet by tomorrow.
Tonight, the storm is moving east and will be felt throughout New England and the Northeast with up to 2 feet of snow. Brian?
Janet Shamlian in Bloomington, Illinois tonight. Thanks. And over to Cleveland we go now. NBC's Kevin Tibbles made it there by car from Detroit today. Kevin, you've had quite a journey.
Good evening from Cleveland, Brian, where it is blowing so hard it is essentially snowing sideways. I made the drive in on the tollway, the turnpike through Ohio from Detroit this afternoon. The highway was littered with cars and trucks jackknifed in positions that only Mother Nature could control. Tonight, this is a state, Ohio, that is not only shutting down, but also hunkering down because of this weather. So far, the snow has been falling at a rate of about 2 inches an hour. And by the time it's all done, sometime tomorrow, who can predict? They're expecting about 2 feet of snow. Like elsewhere in the Midwest, schools and businesses shut down early. The Ohio State Legislature also canceled its session today. Numerous delays and cancellations at the airports. And of course, Ohio's newly minted governor is asking people not only to stay home and stay off the roads, but also check on their neighbors. It is absolute gridlock in downtown Cleveland tonight. Brian?
Kevin Tibbles in cold Cleveland, Ohio. Hope it all ends without too much inconvenience there. Now overseas we go, and as we previewed on this broadcast last night, There was a significant breakthrough today in negotiations with North Korea over its nuclear program. The talks in Beijing involve 6 different nations, including the U.S., and as NBC News correspondent Mark Mullen reports tonight, the Bush administration made some tactical changes that apparently worked.
For years, the Bush administration characterized North Korea as a dangerous and unpredictable communist state that should be kept in check. The president in 2002.
States like these and their terrorist allies constitute an axis of evil.
But now, even after North Korea's unsettling nuclear weapons test in October, the U.S. took an entirely new approach at the 6-party talks, which produced a breakthrough, a first step towards nuclear disarmament based on compassion instead of contempt.
North Korea is not doing very well. I mean, they have serious problems. And so, in a sense, we're helping them out of their problems by helping them to denuclearize.
The deal? If North Korea stops and seals its main nuclear reactor within 60 days, it would get 50,000 tons of badly needed oil and receive almost 1 million more tons of fuel and aid if it allows inspections and permanently disables the reactor, whose plutonium could fuel weapons. For its part, the U.S. will move towards ending sanctions and establishing formal relations with the country, long considered a threat. Did America give away the store? Former UN Ambassador John Bolton says yes.
I'm afraid North Korea has won. Once again, they've made a hollow promise, and they're going to get tangible economic benefits as a consequence of it.
The U.S. and others are placing a lot of trust in North Korea, which has allegedly broken previous agreements.
They know what they've signed on to, and I assume they're going to live up to it.
Through the many steps to reach the ultimate goal, disarming North Korea of nuclear weapons. Mark Mullen, NBC News, Beijing.
Now to Iraq today, where at least 15 people in a Shiite area of Baghdad were killed by the latest suicide truck bomber there, while in Washington, the U.S. House of Representatives started debating that non-binding resolution that opposes President Bush's plan to send thousands more troops to Iraq. Here tonight, NBC's Chip Reed on a House divided.
We have order in the chamber, please.
In a debate that ranged from solemn,
Mr. Speaker, this is a great American tragedy,
to impassioned.
And let's get our young men and women out of this crossfire of a civil war.
Democrats argued against the war and in favor of a non-binding resolution stating that Congress disapproves of the president's troop surge in Iraq.
The American people have lost faith in President Bush's course of action in Iraq.
We are not fighting terrorism in Iraq. We are attempting to referee a religiously based civil war which saps our strength.
Pennsylvania Democrat Patrick Murphy, the House's only Iraq War veteran, served with the 82nd Airborne.
That is immoral to send young Americans to fight and die in a conflict without a real strategy for success.
But most Republicans spoke in strong support of the surge.
We dishonor the lives of those who have made the ultimate sacrifice if we in fact abandon that mission.
If the House votes against the president's plan, they insisted, it will demoralize the troops and embolden the enemy.
I think it's going to be received by friend and foe alike as the first sound of retreat in the world battle against extremists and terrorists.
If we leave, they'll just follow us home. It's as simple as that.
Later this week, the House is expected to pass that resolution opposing the surge with the support of virtually all Democrats and some, perhaps dozens, of Republicans. And Democratic leaders say that will be only the first step. Chip Reed, NBC News, the Capitol.
There was a pause in that Iraq debate today in memory of Republican Congressman Charlie Norwood, who died this morning at his home in Augusta, Georgia, after a long battle with lung disease. Norwood was a conservative swept into office in the GOP wave of '94. He was a dentist and a passionate advocate for Patients' Bill of Rights, aimed at giving consumers better access to health care in this country. Congressman Charlie Norwood was 65 years old. There is word tonight from the trial of Vice President Cheney's former chief Chief of Staff Scooter Libby that neither Vice President Cheney nor Libby himself will testify. Libby's accused of perjury and obstruction of justice in the leak of a CIA agent's identity. And the judge said he's giving up a part of his own defense by not testifying. Libby's lawyers say they will rest their case this week with closing arguments next week. There are serious new questions tonight about the Pentagon's accusation that Iran is supplying deadly explosive devices targeting U.S. troops in Iraq. And the latest questions are from a surprising source. Our chief foreign affairs correspondent, Andrea Mitchell, is with us from our Washington newsroom with more on this tonight. Andrea, good evening.
Good evening, Brian. Those surprising questions about the Pentagon's case against Iran come from America's top military commander, Joint Chiefs Chairman Peter Pace.
Thank you, sir.
Traveling in Australia and Indonesia, Pace twice raised serious doubts with Voice of America and other journalists.
And it's clear that materials from Iran are involved. But I would not say, based on what I know, that the Iranian government clearly knows or is complicit.
That contradicts unnamed military briefers in Baghdad Sunday, who said Iran's government is directly responsible for Revolutionary Guards, known as the Quds Force, planting the bombs. Today, the White House stuck by its claims.
The Quds Force is, in fact, an official arm of the Iranian government, and as such, the government bears responsibility and accountability for its actions.
But despite what the White House said again today, tonight, some Pentagon officials say the military briefers in Baghdad went too far in blaming Iran's government. Brian?
Andrea Mitchell in Washington tonight. Thanks. On Wall Street here in New York today, the blue chips spiked on rumors that aluminum giant Alcoa is a takeover target. The Dow finished up more than 102 points today. NASDAQ was up 9.5 points on today's trading. When Nightly News continues here this Tuesday night after a break, former Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney, he formally announces his bid for the GOP presidential nomination. And later tonight, our special series, Trading Places, taking care of aging parents. Tim Russert's look at his dad's quest to stay independent and the team of family, friends, and neighbors who make that possible. We're back with NBC News in depth tonight. Another day, another presidential candidate. This time it is former Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney. He is trying to position himself as the true conservative in this crowded GOP field. But has that always been the case? Campbell Brown is here with us with a look at this campaign. Hey, Campbell.
Hey, Brian. Well, if you look at the polls, most have Mitt Romney running well behind other Republican hopefuls. But with his resume and his money, no one is counting him out. The former governor of Massachusetts announced in his native Michigan, where his father once served as governor.
With the fine people of Michigan in front of me and with my sweetheart at my side, I declare my intention to run for president of the United States.
Romney's strengths, chiseled good looks, a picture-perfect family, and an impressive resume.
Hi, Betty. How are you?
He won high marks for managing the 2002 Salt Lake City Olympics. Before running for governor, he was a respected entrepreneur who made millions, and through business connections, can now raise millions.
I put it all in a package that you look at Mitt Romney and you see a guy that is incredibly bright, very, very impressive.
But Romney has real challenges. He says he's the true social conservative in the race, opposed to abortion and gay marriage. But here was Romney in 1994.
I believe that abortion should be safe and legal in this country.
And on gay rights.
I feel that all people should be allowed to participate in the Boy Scouts regardless of their sexual orientation.
Romney responded on his website.
Of course, I was wrong on some issues back then. I'm not embarrassed to admit that.
But will that be enough for Christian conservatives, key to winning the Republican nomination?
We're still looking at what he's saying, and we're still paying very, very close attention to the matchup between actions and words.
His biggest hurdle, though, may be Romney's religion. He's Mormon, and a recent poll found about half of Americans had at least some reservations about a Mormon candidate. The Romney camp says he will be speaking out about his faith.
Thanks, you guys. Great to be with you.
And they expect those views to change with education. Whatever his challenges, the frontrunners are watching his every move. Senator John McCain is expected to accelerate his plans to keep up with the early campaigning. And former Mayor Rudy Giuliani said this week he is definitely running. He is just working out the details for when he plans to make it official, Brian.
And it's so early.
It is so early.
Campbell, thanks. Good to see you. We'll take another break when NBC Nightly News continues in just a moment. What happened at a Utah shopping mall and how little we still know tonight.
It's just surreal. I would have never thought anything would have happened like this. I mean, we're thinking about we just trying to recover from Katrina a year and a half, 2 years ago, and we were 90% done, and here this happens to us.
That was, believe it or not, one of the victims of a tornado overnight in New Orleans, adding insult to injury for that city. Unbelievably, the storm tore through neighborhoods still recovering from Katrina. It tossed some of those FEMA trailers people have been living in, and the storm killed an 85-year-old woman living in a trailer. She was one utility hookup away from moving back into her home. A terrible story out of Salt Lake City tonight. An 18-year-old who police say was a Bosnian refugee. He went on a shooting spree last night at a local shopping mall. Tonight, another man there is being called a hero for stepping in, stopping the gunman before the rampage turned even worse. We get the story tonight from NBC's Michael Oku.
The first shots rang out just before 7 p.m. in the mall parking lot.
We were sitting by the window, and all of a sudden we heard, it sounded like a car backfiring, and then there was 1 and 2 and 3.
The gunman, dressed in a trench coat, armed with a handgun, a backpack of ammunition, and a shotgun, which he appeared to fire randomly.
He was pumping and shooting rounds before he went in the building. Then he went into the building underneath us and heard shots inside of the building.
Eyewitnesses describe pandemonium as store employees, shoppers, and diners scrambled for cover.
People are screaming and yelling, and I saw this one lady just drop.
Within minutes, an off-duty police officer exchanged fire with the shooter, held him at bay until more officers arrived.
Going in and engaging a suspect who was well armed without having the benefits of a uniform, extra equipment, or magazines for his firearm is truly heroic.
When it was over, police surveyed the carnage. 6 dead, including the shooter, 4 injured. Today, still no motive and little information about the gunman, 18-year-old Solomon Tolovich, a Salt Lake City resident, who one eyewitness described as an average Joe. According to officials, crime here is at its lowest level in 14 years. But today, Salt Lake is in mourning and looking for answers. Michael Oku, NBC News, Salt Lake City.
Another break, and then when we come back, trading places, caring for your parents. Our special reports this week. Tim Russert's dad, Big Russ, and the good life in Buffalo at the age of 83. Well, we seem to have found a topic that touched a nerve. We have launched a special series here called Trading Places, about caring for the elderly, the folks who cared for us. Last night was my dad's television debut. Tonight we meet a bona fide celebrity, Big Russ. Tim Russert's dad, the best known, most written about senior in all of Buffalo, who likes his life there a certain way.
My dad is a fiercely independent man, always has been. He left high school to fight in World War II, was badly injured when his B-24 Liberator crashed. Back home in Buffalo, New York, he raised 4 kids with my mom, who sadly died a year and a half ago. He always met every challenge, working round the clock with 2 full-time jobs. But living alone is hard.
It's lonely.
Yeah.
Got a lot of people helping.
Yeah, you got a great team, don't you?
Now at 83, Dad has slowed down. Still, he won't ask for help and will not consider a retirement home.
When I tried to talk to you about going to that assisted living place, you wouldn't get out of the car.
Don't get them going. They'll be calling me up.
What are you doing? Are you trying to...
A lot of responsibility falls on my sister, who lives nearby, replacing batteries and solving the problems of daily life. Neighborhood friend Mike Shea shovels and can be over in a matter of minutes if the power goes out.
And I know when he needs something, even if he doesn't need it, I'm a step ahead of him a lot of times.
My sisters and I call several times a day, too many times according to Dad.
Okay.
And there is a frequent care package from me. Lunch and dinner are lovingly prepared by neighbor Jean Passafiumi.
Enough to feed 2.
You have to feed the soul and brain. If you feed both, you will have a happy life. Remember that.
And Dad's favorite, corned beef and cabbage at the Blackthorn Club, where old buddies raise their glasses once a month.
When you're young, it's not too hard to write, but as the years pass along, sometimes the words that once were there just aren't right.
I want to thank you so much for embracing him. It means everything to me and everything to him. Tonight, it's just help with a coat. But tomorrow, it's support from a team who gives my dad the love and dignity he deserves. Tim Russert, NBC News, South Buffalo.
After part one aired last night to kick off this series, we heard from hundreds of you, emails and video clips and still photos and advice all about the elderly being cared for. Tonight, we continue to invite you to share your own stories, photos, video about caring for your parents on our website, that is nightly.msnbc.com. Our series called Trading Places continues tomorrow night with Dr. Nancy Snyderman's unusual story about helping her parents leave the community where they have lived for years to be closer to her and closer to their grandchildren. That is our broadcast for this Tuesday night. Thank you, as always, for being with us. I'm Brian Williams. We'll look for you right back here tomorrow evening in the snow. Good night.